Hello guys, in today's video we are going to try to answer the most common question that I get on our Facebook page, which is why does my Siku Control 32 tractor not move forward when I only have a small load, a small trailer on it. People usually say that they've either had the tractor for a long time or that they've bought it second hand, and when they try to pull any sort of a trailer at all, even something as small as this baler, the tractor fails to pull it. And as you can see, when I tested mine, doing the same. I hadn't noticed this before because I never really pulled a trailer with this tractor. I only really used it for the front loader. My intention was to try and test this tractor in this sort of obstacle course I've set up here, for to drive in and try and reverse the trailer around, because I thought that might be challenging for it. But as it turns out, it couldn't even get round the corner in the first place. There is a slip clutch in the gearbox of this tractor, but if we actually listen to the motor, the tone coming from the motor, you'll hear that it's not a clicking noise like you would expect from a slip clutch. The motor is just running free, which maybe means that the slip clutch isn't the problem. Maybe something else is failing in the gearbox that's causing this problem. So the only way we can solve this is if we take it apart and see what's wrong. Taking this apart is not too difficult. There is 5 Torx screws on the base of it, and once you've those off, it just sort of hinges off the back of the vehicle. And with the bottom of the tractor, we can see now that our motor and our servo are in a sort of a bracket. I disconnected the servo and took the entire bracket out, but I think I could have just clipped it out of the black bracket without having to remove the entire thing, which would have been a little bit simpler, but that's the way I did it. The wheels are held on with 2 little screws on either end of the axle, so you need to take them out first before you can remove the wheels. If you've noticed, the PCB is different from your tractor. It's because I changed the PCB for one of my own in this, so that's not actually a Siku Control 32 electronics that's in this. So that's our wheels off. The little nuts that are on the axle now, they slide off. They're generally a little bit tight. The actual gearbox housing itself has 4 screws, so we need to screw those out. And those are just Phillips head screws, so not a Torx for this. And when you've those out, the casing itself just clips apart, so pretty simple. And with that apart, we can see the spring from the slip clutch and then the 2 little gears that make up the clutch itself. So there's quite a heavy spring here, but you can just about see that those 2 parts separate there. And if we look at the second part, the one on the right, there's a little crack there. I'm not sure if that is by design or it has broken. I'm not sure, but that piece is supposed to clamp onto the axle because it's roughed up at the point just below that. So I don't see how that piece would hold the shaft unless it was a solid piece. And you can see here on the shaft where it's roughed up, that's where that other piece is supposed to grip. But clearly it'll be very difficult for it to do that when it's open. The only other possibility is that maybe the housing holds it closed, and possibly what's happened is the housing or that piece itself have worn, and as a result it's able to open more and just spins on the shaft rather than gripping it the way it's supposed to. That might explain why it's usually old models that present with this problem. The parts are maybe just starting to wear out. If we look at the gear, you can see the little triangular teeth inside the gear, not the outside ring, the inner ring which mates to the other piece, and the 2 are held tightly together until too much load is applied to the wheels, and then they slip by design. My solution to this is to drill a hole through the shaft and drill a hole through the gear so that the gear just cannot spin on the shaft. This is actually quite difficult to do unless you have a pillar drill, because it's quite a small hole, and if you try to do it by hand, there's a good chance that the drill will just vibrate off the shaft. Now that I have a hole drilled through both, I'm going to put a little bit of steel wire through them and just smooth it off so that neither of them can spin independently, and that the gear is still able to rotate in the casing. What we're doing here won't disable the slip clutch, we're just fixing it really. So to put a little bit more tension on the slip clutch, I just added in an extra washer, and this is the original washer. The one I added is the thicker one on the right, so that should put a little bit more tension on the slip clutch. So with any luck, it'll work the way it was originally designed. The slip clutch will prevent too much load coming on the gearbox and destroying the gears. We're just going to have to test it out and see what happens. Now off camera, I compressed the spring, put through the little bit of steel wire, and just filed it down so that it was nice and smooth along that outer ring, because that will actually be in the casing of the gearbox itself. It'll be rotating in the casing, so we can't have a piece of wire sticking out that's going to catch in the casing. So here's just a quick test to see that everything's working. As you can hear there, that is the slip clutch actually slipping the way it's supposed to. So the gear is definitely catching on the shaft this time. And with the model all back together, it's working fine. And you can hear the slip clutch working. So obviously if you were driving into the wall, you could damage a plastic gearbox doing this, so the slip clutch kind of saves it that way. And now if we redo our original test, you can see that the tractor is pulling the trailer there with no issues. We try putting a little bit of stress on it, just try and get it to reverse into this area here. And there is no slipping from the gearbox. Any clicking you're hearing there is just me hitting the joysticks off the controller. So a lot of sharp turning here, and it's working perfectly. So that looks like it's been a good solution, and only time will really tell if it actually works in the long run. So I hope you found that one useful. If you did, don't forget to hit the like button, and let me know in the comments if you have any better suggestions on how to fix this, because a lot of people ask this question. But that's my way of doing it, and hopefully it'll help a few people. But that's everything for today. Thanks very much for watching.